Yes.
You said you said that from a very early age you had a lot of self-confidence and self-esteem, and I was wondering what your mother or your family or whomever instilled in you that gave you that self-confidence.
Oh, let me not even say that. My mother is there. She's right there, and I was gonna say the belt. No, I'm only kidding. No, no, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. I'm joking. every every time I say that, my mother thinks that I make her look so bad. But no, there was just, a friend of mine put it this way. My mother used to make me sandwiches, and not physical sandwiches, but spiritual sandwiches, okay? She would give me bread, and the bread was encouragement and love. And then the meat was the correction, okay? And then there was another piece of bread, which was the encouragement and the love. So that worked, you see? That worked, and she just dealt with me in truth at all times. Well, no, wait, let me go back. Wait a minute. That's not true, because there was this one time. Do you guys remember those plastic shoes, jellies? Listen, I wanted them so bad, my mother told me I couldn't have them because they would melt on my feet. And I was like, you grow up now and you realize, what you said? And that's why I have on plastic shoes right now, because I wanted those jellies. And you remember those raincoats, the clear ones? She told me that I would suffocate if I wore one of those. You didn't, but no, I'm serious. But she dealt with me in love. There was a certain amount of, there was a huge level of freedom in our relationship, because we exercised choice from an early age. But at the same time, there was discipline. There were parameters, but we could choose. I remember her telling me stories about when I was 5 years old. Every Saturday, of course, it was on a school day, but Saturdays and Sundays, she would allow me to dress myself. And of course, I would put on, my cowboy boots, like some crazy skirt, a flash dance sweater, ridiculous, just looking real crazy. But at that point, from 5 years old, she was allowing me to be an individual, allowing me to be unique, and we just had a very nonconformist family, a very loving. Love is so important. A loving environment. To this day, I can't tell you how blessed I am to know how much love. And let me tell you, because when you get out there and you realize, I grew up in a big family. My grandmother had 13 kids, and it was always a lot of us, and we just thought everybody's family is like this, until I met other people who were scarred. My fiance, it's so funny when two people meet in a relationship, everybody has baggage. We all bring baggage to every situation and every relationship. But the good part is that, when you find someone that you think you have something in common with, you recognize the bags. You're like, oh, that's Samsonite, I got that. That's a toiletry bag, you put a toothbrush in there. But when I met my fiance, I had my little travel kit, and he had like U-Hauls, and I was like, whoa! I was like, what goes in there? And I'm be very honest, very intimidated. And you couldn't have found two people who were more, who we were just incompatible, but there was love. We loved each other, and I was like, why do I love this man who talk? That's how he talks, and this Jamaican pattern, and I was just like, what is this? But God brought us together, and God worked it out. And I'm just, love, I tell you, love is that confidence. Love is what you give your children. Love is what you give. Let me tell you another thing about the Matrix. Going back to the Matrix, is that I was always confused about it. I always thought that, the Matrix was battling the enemy out there, picking them out. I'm going to find those enemies. I'm going to get that enemy. Until I realized that until you conquer the enemy in yourself, you can't deal with anyone. In order to be used by God, you have to really be used. We always want to be used for the glorious jobs. Let God put me on the stage in front of the people in the Grammy show with a nice dress on. Let me just praise your name. But that's not being used. Sometimes in order to be used, you also have to be humiliated. You have to be humiliated sometimes. You have to be kicked and beaten. And in that situation, the person who's kicking and beating, he's feeling more pain than you are. Love is an incredible thing, and we don't know love like we should. We always talk about, I have unconditional love. Unconditional love is, we don't even know it, because if a person stops stimulating us, we stop loving them. You're not interesting to talk to anymore. Goodbye. But that real love that sometimes is difficult, difficult to have, that's that love. And that's a confidence builder. Thank you. That was very long. For one little question. Okay. Yes.
You've melded a lot of things in your music, like hip hop and reggae and R&B, and you put different influences together in ways that are really interesting and new.
Thank
and
you.
it's hard to be new when so much has been said and done in art. And I wanted to know, is that where you think that music and arts too, is that where you think they're going?
I hope so. I hope so. You know, as far as, I hope so. I hope so. I'm encouraged. You know, I'm very encouraged. I mean, I'll be very honest with you, as a musician today, I'm not in the studio right now, and everybody in my world thinks I'm crazy. What's going on? You need another album out. You know, the time is running out. You have a window, a certain window to make music. And for a little while, I listened to that. And I was like in the studio working real hard, trying to get it done. And you know, music was created. Definitely music that I think people will appreciate, but it wasn't my best. And it wasn't my best because there was no substance. And there was no substance because there was no experience. I'd gone from the studio to the stage, back into the studio again. And the only reason why The Miseducation was the album it was because of a myriad of experiences that took place before the production part, before the creation. So what I realized is, you know what, I can't create and not live. I can't be in this vacuum of, you know, of creativity without life. So, you know, in hip hop, we're all trying to get to this next level without, as my brethren says, without the next level finding us. You know, it's like life is peaks and valleys. And some people think some people explain that as good times, bad times, but I actually think it's learning or let's say learning mastership, okay? Or study mastership. Now, I went from the top of one mountain. I'd mastered something. I'd mastered something and people appreciated it. But, you know, once you're on the top of that mountain, you have to go this way. But in hip hop, everybody's like, I'm not moving. I'm the master. I'm great. I'm dope. I'm hot. I'm here. I've arrived. I'm not going anywhere. And that's what you stay stuck on top of on one hill, one mountain, when, you know, God's intention is that we study and master a bunch of different things. And so here I am descending this hill, and everybody's like, where you going? You know, we're supposed to be on the top of the hill. But it's exciting time. It's definitely exciting time for me because I'm at the foot of another hill. You know, this hill, you know, is different. You know, it's totally different. You have to navigate it different. But I get to learn. And then once you learn and you go through that, you are on the top of another one. So I would just encourage everybody, never be afraid of not knowing. Never be afraid of not knowing. You know, find out. Because that's how you get, you know, to mastership. You know, and don't be afraid of that. We don't have anything what's the word I'm looking for? Let's not be mediocre in our greatness. You know what I mean? Like, think big. Think big. And think in doses, think in experiences. And don't be afraid of experiences that teach you. Don't be afraid of that. We don't always have to be so, you know, our generation is just so, you know, we're just cool all the time. It's like, I'm always cool. I'm a baller. I have all the women. I know everything. You know, and that's not realistic. No one knows everything at every time. No one is just that cool all the time. I mean, maybe some of you in the audience are, you know, but nobody is, you know. So don't be afraid to be that, because when you are uncool, that's the road to cool. But when you're cool already, that's the road to not being cool anymore. So, you know, don't be afraid of that. Did I hopefully gave you some insight as to music? I'm sorry, guys, I'm not a very good speaker. Was that it? Oh. Can I just say one thing? I just want to say thank you for having me. Okay, thank you. I was blessed to be in this room with you guys. I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I really am. Just stay encouraged, you know, and just know that there's a higher force that he knows the way out of the matrix. Okay? Thank you, everyone.